The story I'll be going over today is the book called Night by Elie Wiesel. This book was written, well, he doesn't exactly know why he wrote it, but it was based in, or during the time of the concentration camps where Hitler took out the Jews and would make them work or kill them. And Elie Wiesel, had gone through that and somehow survived. So he lost all of his family during it, and when he came out, he decided to write this book. But he's not exactly sure why he wrote it, just like what it says here. He said, "Why did I write it? Did I write it so as not to go mad, or on the contrary to go mad? In order to understand the nature of madness, the immense, terrifying menace that had erupted in history and in the conscience of mankind? Was it to leave behind a legacy of words, of memories, to help prevent history from repeating itself? Or was it simply to preserve a record of the ordeal I endured as an adolescent, at an age where no one's knowledge of death and evil should be limited to what one discovers in literature?" So, pretty much what he's saying is the children at his age was when he had to go through this, shouldn't have to go through it. They should be just watching it on the TV or reading it in books, but not actually going through it and having everything taken away from you that you even knew. So this book started out when Elie Wiesel was 13, and he had lived in Transylvania, but when someone came and warned them that something was going to happen, like they were going to take the Jews to the concentration camps, and nobody wanted to believe it, so everybody said he was crazy and didn't believe it, pretty much. So they convinced themselves out of it, and it turns out that they actually did have to go. And when they actually went through that whole thing of the boats and being transferred all together in that small area, after going through the crazy woman, or everybody thought she was crazy, and then seeing the fire from the gas chamber type things where they would put the Jews, they kind of figured out that this was reality, and they kind of started panicking. But when they arrived at the concentration camp, the women and children, or the women and girls, I guess, were taken away from the women and boys. No, it would have been women and children. They were taken away from the men and the older kids. And so Elie went with his father, and Ellie's sister and his mother went away, and he never saw them again. And he had to go through the whole working thing, and working till most everybody was dead. And this book pretty much just tells the story of what actually happened. And like he said in the preface, he doesn't know why he wrote it, but he thinks it's to keep history from repeating itself, like he said, and that the evil people who did that wouldn't be able to get away with trying to erase it from everybody's memory. So the story goes on, and it ends with his father dying, and somehow he made it alive, and so he went home and told the story, which is in this book. So this is a really good book if anybody was looking for one, and I highly suggest that you read it, because even though it may be sad and really depressing, it really gives you insight on how lucky you are and not having to go through that. So, yeah.